Now, the purpose of this stakeholder workshop is to really continue to inform and build capacity within the stakeholders. The framework is complete. The law has been written. It has been submitted to the Minister of Finance. We continue to work with KRA to just finalize some of the points on making sure the tax treatment is appropriate. But we're looking at stakeholder capacity building so we can focus now more on the implementation of the framework as soon as it's enacted into law. With the launch of Konza yesterday, I think it's critical to say that, with the scale of what needs to be done, with Konza, with Tatu, with so many of the other infrastructure projects in the country, the Real Estate Investment Trust Framework, which is really a collective investment tool, will allow Kenyans to be able to participate in these very large-scale projects, to be able to take some little amount, put it into a unit trust, like any other unit trust we have running, but now they'll be specifically used for investing in real estate projects and allow wananchi to really enjoy some of the growth potential of real estate investment. It is what they called is the Capital Markets Real Estate Investment Trust Collective Investment Scheme Regulations. They're already written. They're available on the authority's website. They were submitted to the Minister of Finance at the end of September last year, and we continue to engage with the policymakers to make sure that they'll come into force as soon as possible. We're very honored to have the PS Housing with us to open our workshop today. And I think in his statement you could hear how clearly he was supporting the role that REITs are going to play in not only providing housing, but also supporting infrastructure development in the country. I think we had held a government stakeholders workshop at the same venue here yesterday, just to help build understanding of all the key players within government, within housing, lands, finance, planning, Nairobi Metropolitan, local government, the NSSF, National Housing Corporation, and other entities, just to build their familiarity with the product, as we're really hoping to see them come online very soon. The tax provisions, we're discussing with KRA to hopefully that with the next budget, the tax provisions will come out, and we're hoping the legal provisions in the regulations will have already been enacted before any change in government. We really hope. The hope is they'll be gazetted before the end of the current government, and part of the rationale for having these industry workshops is also to build the number of voices that are really pushing for the early gazettement of this law. I think when you look at the county development, we have effectively 47 new capitals that need to be built. And the capacity of government to set aside the funds necessary to build those towns overnight is just not a possibility. So what we're doing through this product is to allow the capital markets, to allow wananchi, and also local institutional investors, international investors, to be able to have a very clear mechanism through which they can put their money into a very structured product that has very clear governance structures, very transparent structures that will allow them to now invest in real estate wherever it is in the country. And that can really support the county development initiatives. Now, I think this is a solution for raising the money. One of the challenges that we have, and one of the challenges that has kept housing at an affordable level to almost an impossibility, is just the cost of construction. The cost of being able to borrow from the banks to be able to put up a large-scale project. Now, what we're addressing that is significantly reducing the cost of the money. And hopefully, as that is addressed, you'll see with an increase of supply, a number of the other issues being addressed, but we recognize this is not a solution to all the problems. This will not suddenly cease fake titles. But with the oversight structures that exist in this product, you make sure that wananchi, when they invest, will have a level of certainty that the building they're investing in has gone through the necessary due diligence. The trustees and the fund manager have assured that before they invest, they're investing in quality, proper legal titles, good structures. When we look at the development, we're making sure that you'll have quantity surveyors in place, you'll have project managers in place, so that by the time a project is built, you have a level of certainty as to the quality of what you're buying into. The most important statement I think we want to make is we're not looking for tax incentives. We're not looking for tax breaks. All we're trying to ensure is that there will be tax neutrality. You see, what is happening is you are encouraging people to put all their properties into a trust, which now the trust will be responsible for holding on behalf of the investors and distributing the income to the investors. So what we're pursuing is to make sure that the money in the hands of the trustee will not be taxed. All that will happen is when that trustee is now distributing it to the investors, that is when they'll charge withholding tax. And these are the issues we've been discussing with Treasury. And they have noted that they understand this is the structure that already exists for collective investment schemes, and we're just making sure the same treatment will exist for real estate investment schemes. Since the last stakeholders forum, what we have been focusing on was taking in the comments we had received to make sure we can refine the framework so that once it was submitted to the minister at the end of September, it was clear it had taken into account all stakeholder views and inputs. Yeah, so there's been no significant change. It was just refinement to make sure we were addressing the various questions and concerns that had been raised so that the framework that is currently awaiting enactment is truly reflective of the stakeholder views both from private sector and public sector. The listing rules, we're working with the exchange to help them finalize their listing rules as soon as possible. Very much we're working to have them in place once again with the passage of the legal framework also before the end of the change in government.